Well, welcome YouTube to our UFC 268 prediction video. We're just going to be going through the fights real quick, saying who we think is going to win. We won't be breaking it down as much this time. Well, I think we'll leave that to our afterthoughts video. Well, get into the first fight. We have they switched the pay-per-view around. Usman, Rose, and Gaethje all fight for the same team. Whitman was actually going to have to he was going to have to coach 3 fights in a row, because that's how they had it set up. So they switched it that Gaethje and Chandler is going to be the first fight of the night, which I actually think is pretty cool. Opens the
That's
fight.
the coolest way to pop
Yeah,
off
exactly.
because that honestly is the fight I'm most excited for.
Exactly. It
So,
honestly reminds me of like fight cards that Sean O'Malley's on, where like,
mhm.
you started off with something exciting, like, okay,
Yeah,
cool, let's
you
start this
know
main card
he's
off.
gonna go out there and make a show. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's gonna be a fun fucking fight. So
Yes.
they're going to brawl.
Exactly. No, it's going to be a super fun fight. You got 5'11" Gaethje against 5'8" Chandler. Reach, it goes to Chandler. They're both just significant with their strikes. They just lay it on you, but they also both have great wrestling. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this fight plays out. Who do you
Yeah.
have coming out on top?
So I love Justin Gaethje, but I'm gonna give it to Chandler. I have a feeling Chandler's gonna win. Now, Gaethje definitely has the ability to beat Chandler. I
Mm-hmm.
just think that Chandler is he said it. Justin Gaethje's punches. He's a volume guy, right?
Yeah.
He's not got one punch knockout power. He's got devastating leg kicks though, which could be a
Yes.
problem for Chandler.
Oh,
He's not
yes.
done well with those in the past. But Chandler is a power puncher.
Mm-hmm.
So if he just stands there and tries to trade punches with Chandler, I don't think he's going to come out on top. And I do believe Chandler, even though I know Justin Gaethje is a good wrestler that just fell in love with striking, but I do
Mm-hmm.
believe Michael Chandler is a better wrestler.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I told you how I felt about Gaethje. We all had those kids in high school on the wrestling team that were great wrestlers, but it seems like they were only wrestling because they loved to fight, and it gave them an excuse to like get out there on the mat and dominate. Where I think Gaethje just loves to fight. Wrestling was just all right. I'm good at it. I don't think he likes to go to wrestling. I think he loves to brawl.
yeah,
And that's what
no,
it's
I agree.
about. And
But Chandler's a brawler too, and I
oh,
just think
100%.
he's a lot more powerful when it comes to strikes. And I just think if Justin gets in that phone booth with Chandler and just throw punches, which is inevitably a Gaethje thing, right?
Yep.
I don't think it's going to end well for him.
Yeah, we'll see. Vegas actually has Gaethje 210 favorite, with
I can see
over
that.
Chandler a plus 175. Which, if I'm a bettor, I'm gonna go with Chandler on this fight. That's some good odds for you. I say it all the time. Go back to when we talked about Wei and Rose the first time. Rose went into that fight at a plus 180, and I was like, that's Vegas showing you or telling you that they think Rose might win this. So same thing with this fight. This is Vegas saying that, Gaethje has it, but Chandler has what it takes to win. And I think Chandler understands that this is his last opportunity to go for the belt. He did get the Dana White privilege coming into the UFC, and I don't think he'll get much more of that after a loss to Gaethje. So I do have Chandler winning this fight, and I'm gonna actually say it's gonna be a second round TKO.
I agree with that actually. If I had to put a round on it, I would say second round TKO.
Yeah,
I think the
I
first
don't think it's
round's
going
going
to
to be a
third.
very even. I think the whole fight's going to be even, but I believe that Justin Gaethje is going to get TKO'd. He's going to try to stand there and
Yeah.
bang for too long.
I agree.
Um,
So moving on to the next bantamweight fight, we got Frankie Edgar versus Vera. Frankie Edgar's former champion. Vera, whatever. You can say he was as I don't personally think I think his resume is a little boosted. But I give the striking to Vera, but I think Frankie Edgar needs a win in his career right now. I think if Frankie Edgar takes another loss right now, he's going to go down the rankings a little bit more. And the only other person that I can see him fighting after this is like a Sean O'Malley to get Sean higher up in the rankings.
yeah, Vera is definitely more of an up and comer.
Yes.
Right. I think that his fights may have been the best people in the world, but he does show a lot of promise. He is very technical. I do enjoy watching him. Frankie Edgar, I do believe, is on the way out.
Yeah.
I don't know I think he's lost his last two, I believe. Maybe he lost his last
No,
one,
he
but
lost the Sandhagen fight, and that was it.
I know the Sandhagen fight he
And
lost.
then
Yeah,
he
'cause he
didn't
got knocked
lose
out.
before. I think his last loss before that was Max Holloway.
I don't remember.
I'll have to go look actually.
But if I had to give it anything though, just watching both of them, I would think I would give it to Vera. He's a lot younger. He's a lot more hungry. Um, he's got a little bit taller guy.
Yeah, a little bit more of a reach. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
So I believe he's going to.
Vegas has it the
I would
same
say
way.
probably. I think he'll probably go to decision. To be honest.
I really want Frankie Edgar to win this fight. He's only a plus 135, so Vegas, they have this pretty close. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns to even before the fight begins. Um, Vera, once again, like, excuse me, I don't. We'll see. You know what I mean? He lost to Jose Aldo. He came back and had another win. But once I talk about inflation, I think his resume got a little inflated from that Sean O'Malley win. You know what I mean? Where like you won, but it's not like you won from your fighting prowess. You know what I mean? The dude hurt his ankle and the fight was called off. So, but I would like to see if he does win, run it back with Sean O'Malley. Let's see it again.
Yeah, I mean he's asked already, but Sean O'Malley said
Yeah, we'll see.
they said you need a few more wins before you can fight me,
Which is funny.
which made me laugh so much.
But Sean O'Malley
Uh,
needs to break those ranks, so he's got to get up there.
I think it will, but we'll talk about that another day. On to Namajunas and Wei Lee.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts?
Yes, it's gonna be exciting. There wasn't any pure dominance in that last fight. If you rewatch the fight, everyone's broken it down 100 times. We were at that fight. Rose is so great at how she bounces around, how she does her footwork, her handwork. She keeps you guessing the whole time. She kind of faked a leg kick. Wei Lee expected that, kind of went back with the kick, and then left her head open and got knocked out. So, I don't think it turns out that same way. I think this is the fight where we actually see the slugfest that we thought we were going to see in the last fight. I think Rose is now has that championship mentality, and Wei Lee, I don't think she lost it. She just needs to get back to it. That being
Okay.
said, I have Rose winning this fight by decision, all 5 rounds.
Okay. I am going to go the opposite with you. I think that it is going to happen like it happened last time. I don't think it's going to be a first round knockout, but I believe it'll probably be a second round knockout, third round knockout. Reason I say that is I think that Wei Lee is coming into this fight hot. She's been disputing it this whole time. She's got like she feels like she shouldn't have lost, obviously, but I do think that knockout's probably about to change her. That was the first time she's knocked out. It was in brutal fashion. And I think that if Rose comes out and once she starts swinging on her again, she's going to be a lot more cautious. I don't think she's going to go in there and just be a crazy slugfest. Sorry, Nat's playing. Don't be a crazy slugfest. So I think that Rose, if she just really gets her timing down, stands back, almost like, do some point fighting at first, set her up. I believe she's going to knock her out. I think she's going to set her up, even if she throws that same kick, even if it doesn't land, just to scare her a little bit, to know it's there.
You got to show it. You got to show it.
I think that it's going to happen again because I think Wei Lee's probably going to come in a lot more timid.
I agree.
Now that she just got knocked out.
Yeah, Adesanya was talking about it, how like Rose, let's say, when after she won against Joanna, and then got slammed on her neck by Andrade, and then lost the championship, so like she talked about all of that, and then losing afterwards, but that motivated her. So we'll see if Wei Lee was motivated by this, because she feels robbed. She always said that she felt robbed out of that. She didn't feel like she was knocked out. She felt like she needed a few more seconds and she would have been fine.
Yeah, that's my point.
But we'll see.
Rose, I just gotta say, when Rose lost, you could see it really hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't blame other people. She took it all. And I remember I watched her in an interview. She was crying about it. And she was like, I just got beat. I was doing stupid. But because Wei Lee is talking about she needed a couple more seconds, I was robbed, all this shit. That's what I think she's coming into this different. Because let's be real, she wasn't robbed. when you see that knockout, she was out fucking cold. Everybody is like, she wasn't robbed. No,
You
there's
break
no
it
point there she was robbed.
if you break it, because there's a I'm totally blanking on the YouTube channel right now, but there's a YouTube channel. They go out and break down all of the UFC knockouts. I'll probably link it in the video or in the description below. But they break down all the knockouts, and they'll even zoom in on fighters to see if there's any consciousness left in their face. Right, Wei Lee, when she got kicked, obviously looked like she got knocked out, but when she was on the ground trying to stand up, it looked like Rose just smothered her quick enough and was able to throw those few punches where, like, if you look at her face, it looked like she was coming back. But I agree, she was like, when that kick landed, she was
Yeah.
out. She was
You
out.
can't. I mean, yeah, you can't say so. Like, if you're out cold like that, even
Yeah,
if
she
you're
was
coming
she was
back,
out.
yeah, I
Look at the way
understand
she
that.
fell.
But
Like she
when
fucking
When Rose got on top of her, it wasn't like she was defending herself properly. Like she
no.
wouldn't have come back quick enough to not suffer even more.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no way that was robbed. She
So
was out cold.
the only
She just
reason
came back too.
the only reason I say this is gonna go down as a split decision, right? Look at and maybe this is me just saying this, but go look at both fighters, their win history or their fight history. It's so crazy to see, but both fighters, this is how their fights have gone: KO or submission, next fight decision. KO or submission, next fight decision. KO or submission, next fight decision. So both of those fighters coming off a KO. Obviously Rose got the KO, Whaley got KO'd. Their fighting career says that this fight will go to a decision. So I'm actually gonna bet on a decision. Just off their history. Both of their fighting history shows that after a KO or submission, their next fight goes to a decision.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
It might be weird. I was just looking at their fight history. I'm like,
I mean, there's a possibility it goes to a decision. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely. To be honest, I don't think Whaley's going to knock out Rose.
I mean, she
I
has the
think she
power.
could.
Yeah,
She
she
has
has the
the power, but I don't
power.
think that's
But
gonna
Rose
happen.
has been there against some powerful people. Jessica
Yeah.
Andrade is a very powerful. Joanna is a very powerful person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So she's been in there against the likes of Wei Lee before. So yeah, I don't think she's outclassed by any means when it comes to power. But yeah, I'm gonna say Rose by decision,
All right, and then on to the final fight.
which I'm excited for after today's pressers. Man, they were
Second,
hyped.
probably most exciting. Yeah, Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington.
Dude, I know this might sound ridiculous, but I'm thinking another first or second knockout or round knockout for Usman. I think this is going to be a Masvidal type fight where he's going to go out there and just show the world that he is the pound for pound best fighter.
I mean, I agree. I've said this before, but I do want Covington to win.
Yeah, it
because
would shake some shit up, man.
Everything up, and it would become very interesting. Because the only reason I say that, if Covington loses, it kind of becomes boring. Unless you want to go, the only other fight that would seem exciting would be the Kazmat Chimaev fight.
And he's got to get there
But
still.
Kamaru Usman's beat everybody, and he can start lapping the division.
That's what everyone's saying.
And he might have to, but it's not going to be as fun when you see someone that dominant where they're just destroying everybody twice in a row. But if Covington wins, that makes shit crazy interesting because there's still a lot of people that Covington hasn't fought yet.
Yep.
That could be a real challenge for him.
I agree.
There's still the same up and comers, and then you put Kamaru Usman back into his hunger.
I was about to say that.
Not that he's not.
I don't think he wins 2 fights in a row. I just don't think Covington wins 2 fights in a row against.
No,
Usman.
I don't. I don't think he does. He's not going to be as dominant as Usman has been, but it would still be cool to see Usman get back to just being a contender and him having to fight some fights.
Well,
and I guarantee you, if Usman did lose, it would be fun to see him climb up, take 1 or 2 more fights, and then obviously do a rematch and win.
Well, going back into the pressers we saw, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Usman realizes he's the pound for pound best fighter in the world. He feels very confident in his skills and abilities. He doesn't think Covington's even on the same page as him. And he understands that after this fight, there's nothing left. I think that's why we saw him call out pretty much Canelo. To make it interesting, this Saturday night, not only do we have UFC 268, but we also have Canelo fighting. So I think this is
Mhm.
going to be a very interesting thing to see how this goes, to see how the pay-per-views go. And then if Usman can win and go over and convince Dana and convince Canelo that, hey, we can make off like bandits right now. This is, even if Canelo loses, I don't think it tarnishes his reputation. You know what I mean? Even if Usman loses, it doesn't tarnish his reputation. It's more like a Conor McGregor moment where said it all, did it all. Let me go make some money. You know. But at that same time, if Usman loses this fight, throw all that away. You won't have that opportunity. Canelo ain't gonna try and fight you. And same for Canelo. If Canelo loses this fight going into Saturday, we also won't hear about it. So for the sake of just watching combat sports, I really hope Usman wins, and I really hope Canelo wins, and I hope that we can possibly see Usman versus Canelo in a boxing match.
To be honest about all that, I don't give a fuck. Like about Canelo boxing, because it's a stupid fight. It'd be different if Canelo was going to fight a really skilled boxer, but I mean Usman is great and he's got that knockout power. But he's a great striker, or he's a good striker. He's getting great now, but in the UFC or in MMA, he's not going to be a great striker in boxing.
In his
And I
weight
don't
class,
really
I think
care to see
he's
it.
up there at the top. But yeah, like there's definitely way better boxers in the UFC. The problem is no one's in that weight class with Canelo,
Mhm.
outside of maybe Max Holloway if he gained some weight. You know what I mean? But other than that, that's really the only other reason about it. You know, you gotta. It's not like Adesanya is gonna go out there and fight Canelo or something like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. And then same thing. Usman's not gonna go up weight classes and try and take the middleweight belt. You know,
Yeah.
so for that, I say sure, let me see it because he's not going to go up. He's not going to fight Adesanya. Maybe he would if Whitaker won, but Adesanya gets the rematch. You know what I mean? So he's not going to go up and try and get the middleweight belt at all. I don't think. You know,
No.
so
I don't think he is, but I just still don't think that's gonna that fight just doesn't interest me personally. More what I would like to see if I was really going to choose anybody that's been going back and forth is like an Ngannou and Fury,
that would
where
be
you just
sick.
take some. Or honestly, if he went and fought like Wilder or someone, like Wilder's not the best technical boxing, he's got
Yeah,
crazy knockout power. Put him against
I
Ngannou.
think
Let's see who really.
Ngannou fucks him
I
up,
think
dude.
Ngannou fucks him up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's my point. That interests me way more, and I think would be a bigger pay per view.
Well, that's
Um,
like you're on some Mike Tyson shit now. You know, you're going in there with like, where Mike Tyson had skill, ability, and power. You know what I mean? Where I don't think Deontay Wilder tries to compare himself to Tyson, but he's no
well, no,
Tyson.
but Deontay Wilder is the hardest puncher that's ever existed in boxing. So, and people are saying that about
He's just not
Ngannou.
as skilled as
Yeah,
what Tyson was, technical.
exactly.
You
And
know,
people are saying that about Ngannou though, that he's the most powerful puncher that's ever been in the UFC. That's a
I
fight.
agree.
Put them motherfuckers together with
Yeah, that'd
nothing
be
but
that'd be kind
kindness.
of cool.
That would be great. I know they were going back and forth about him and not Tommy Fury, Tyson
Tyson,
Fury for a while. But
Tommy
I wouldn't.
fumbles.
Yeah, Tommy Fumble. I wouldn't like to see the Tyson Fury fight against him as much, just because I think Tyson Fury would outclass him.
Yeah,
But
I
I
agree.
don't think that Deontay Wilder. I think that'd be a good fucking fight. So, but anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
I just don't really care about the Canelo thing. Um, but I mean, to each his own. Like, I just think for MMA, it's better if Kobe Covington wins. I think it'll draw a lot more eyes. It's going to be crazy because Kobe Covington is the most hated fighter in the UFC. I think that it's going to
Yeah, he's
cause
one
a
of them.
lot of fans to start
I
tuning
think
in.
Aljo's still one of the most hated, but yeah, I think Colby is.
No, I think Aljo's hated for a different reason. I think when people
Yeah,
like,
I was.
whoa,
You can hate someone and still have respect for them. I don't think Aljo has the respect of the fighters as much anymore.
no, he
Where
lost his respect.
Covington,
That's why.
Covington still has the respect of fighters. He's still out there fighting. You know what I mean? He's not. He may have like sat aside and only took the
Yeah,
one
but the
fight.
regular fans though, I've seen a lot of people defending Aljo. Well, he took an illegal knee, he did
Yeah, I
all
know.
this stuff. But no one, people fucking hate Covington.
That's
They
true.
think he's the
Well,
biggest
you
piece of
got
shit.
it's because of
It's
Trump. It goes
hilarious.
all the way back to the,
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious to me. That's why I want him to win. That would be so fucking fun. Like the whole
it would.
division would be so cool to watch. As it just crumbles in itself.
Well,
Because imagine how big that fight would be of a rematch where Usman gets to
I
take
agree.
his belt back and go in there and beat the fuck out. Like that
No,
would be
I agree.
so cool.
Well,
But
look,
that being said,
yeah, who do you
I
have
will
winning?
also say I don't think that's going to happen. I think Usman's going to wax him. I think that it's going to be a second round knockout.
Yeah.
I think that Colby Covington is going to go in there just like Jorge Masvidal, and he's going to think this is how it all plays out. I think Colby Covington is going out there. He's going to start striking, going back and forth, just like he did before. I think Colby Covington is going to have a plan that he is going to wrestle with Kamaru Usman. I don't think he's going to be able to if
100%
he does,
takedown
if he
at
can
the
take
fence.
Kamaru Usman down. I think Kamaru Usman will get back up. I think he's going to try that a couple times and then get discouraged and then go straight back to box or to fighting.
Hmm.
And then I think in the second round, Usman's going to set himself up and knock him out. I think is what's going to
What
happen.
Usman has been doing way better than everyone else. I believe it was, I think it was Dominic. I think it was Dominic Cruz that broke it down. Um, but what if you look at his last few fights between Gilbert Burns, Masvidal, the fights where he's been getting these knockouts, right? You know, and where he differed from the Covington fight is he's throwing the one or faking the one, faking the two, and it gets him close in that when he comes in with that right that he knocked Masvidal out with, that he dropped Gilbert Burns with. I think that is what's going to drop Covington. I don't think I think Covington's going to go into this fight thinking he's got the same Usman, and he's mistaken. I think he's going to be
Usman,
truly
no,
outclassed.
Usman is so much more skilled. I rewatched that fight. I've rewatched this fight a few times, but I was rewatching the highlights from the Usman and the Masvidal fight, and he was so skilled. If you actually watch the fight when he came in with that right, you watch him pull his hand down to get it out of the way.
Hmm.
Like he knew exactly what he was setting up. He pulled his hand down, came in with that straight right, knocked him out. I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think the same thing's gonna happen. I think he's skilled. He's been training on that. I think he's gonna KO him second round, and I think
Yeah,
it's gonna be a real knockout, not
I
a
agree.
TKO this
I
time.
think that this
Wow.
is going to be the we're going to see the sweat flying like we did in Jacksonville, you know, like I'm glad we were there to see, you know, that knockout. We got to see the
Mhm.
Rose knockout and we got to see the Usman knockout, and I truly think, you know, it'd be fun to see it again. It'd be fun to see them both get some knockouts again, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's all
I
you.
do also think that Colby, if when Covington loses, I believe he'll probably humble himself a little bit and actually
Yeah,
come
he
out and
needs
say,
to.
yeah, I think he will. I think that he is a very respectful fighter. Obviously, it's an act what he's doing.
Think about when
So
he
I
won
think that
that belt and it wasn't even like a belt and he kept just dragging it around even though he didn't really
he
have a
still
belt.
does.
Yeah, I
He
know
still
it's
does.
fucking crazy. It's so
It's
weird and
hilarious.
cringe and stuff, but
Well,
oh
that's
my,
the point, though.
I wanted to end it with um I don't know if you watched the presser, and Covington has said some fucked up shit, you know, to Usman in the past, but man, when he dropped that, because he's been backing the New York Police Department and all that, he hit him with that, oh, what do you want me to do to get your jailed father? Like, do you want me to make sure his probation officer? Like, he just started destroying, which is Covington's really good at it. His trash talk
Yeah.
is top notch, you know. But he's like, man, your mom must be so disappointed to have a cheating son and a, oh my, dude, it was insane. And then I'll give it to Usman. He just stayed there, world class, like, smiled, laughed it off. And another reason why I think Usman's gonna just fuck him up. Like, he just,
I agree.
you know, he just isn't phased.
Yeah, the only way I see that being different is if he just comes in too hot and angry.
And I don't think
And
he is. That's
that's
where I'm, you know,
I
I don't
don't
think
think he is
anything
either. I
Covington
believe he's
says.
going to be composed. I think he's going to
Mm-hmm.
come out there and
Give
I think it'll be even at first, but I believe we're going to watch him start dominating Colby Covington.
give credit to that team. If that team can come out all three with victories, wow, you know, any fighter should be looking like, I want to join that team. I'm trying to get and train with those guys, you know, because that is some world class championship, especially if Gaethje does win the fight, you know. So I'm excited for it. We're only a few days away. We're gonna be doing the fight live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Saltonius. We won't be showing the fight, but we will be talking along with it. And like I said, we have the Canelo fight that night as well, so we'll see how all that goes.
Yeah,
Got anything else,
super.
Brad?
Nope, I'm just excited to watch these fights and report back and see if all of our predictions were correct.
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty right last week, besides a couple things. You know, we had some like hopeful predictions, but you know, I think we were pretty realistic on what was going to happen. The only thing we were really wrong on was the Jan Glover fight.
True. All right. Well, we'll see you after the fight.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Deuces.